Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel for another flea market finds episode. And this is stuff that I actually picked at a tractor swap meet down in Connecticut this fall 2024, and got quite a few deals, so let's dive right in. All right, found this brand new storage container, one of these storage boxes here for small parts and stuff like that. It's got a part number that indicates that this is probably a Harbor Freight deal, but it was only $2, so got that for two. Got this Peacock brand, which is Japanese, dial caliper for $10. They work mint. Got these two Starrett tap wrenches. They're engraved, but other than that, they're in great shape. This is a 91B and a 91A. They had $20 on the pair, which is a steal, and I got them for 12. So you can't beat that. Guy who has a lot of junk tools and stuff like that, you just kind of pick through and you put together a bucket or a pile or whatever, and he gives you a really cheap price. Well, this is all I was able to find this go around in his junk was these two spanner wrenches. This is actually a pretty nice one. This is an adjustable one from 2 to 4 3/4 inch, and it's an Armstrong. This one is also an Armstrong. Two spanner wrenches, and this kind of neat old wrench right here. Got kind of a neat look to it. Don't remember who makes this one. Anyways, I got these three wrenches and this little magnetic Craftsman protractor surface level for $3. And I can't quite make out, this looks like a Rawson wrench maybe. It's definitely AWSON or Lawson or Clausen, I don't know. From another guy who had a bunch of junk, I picked through a pile of stuff and put together this pile and got it for $5. I got this interesting screw jack here. This little screw jack. This is a little tool post, a lantern style tool post for a small lathe. This random drift for removing Morse tapers, and these two tool holders, which are actually too big for that lantern, for $5. And then in another pile of junk he had, I fished out these two old knurling tools. This is an Atlas press, and this one is actually this looks like it might be Prentice Brothers. Boy, that's really old if that's the case. $1 a piece for these knurling tools. From another gentleman that I don't usually buy too much from because he's usually a little higher on his prices, but he was a little more reasonable today. So later on, near the end, I went over and I ended up scoring, we came to an agreement on this. This is a AccuPro Taiwan. Okay, so this is made in Taiwan but decent quality boring head on an R8 shank. It's in excellent shape with a couple of little boring bars. I just kind of had them in this plastic case like this. $45. Oh, I think I forgot to mention this. In here is an Eagle oil can that I got for $5. I had vowed a while ago to stop buying these because I have too many of them. But I bought this one because, number one, it's one of the cleanest. Well, it's got oil all over it now because it leaked. But I mean, it's not all dented up. It's in fantastic shape, and it was $5. So yeah. That's how you lure me back into buying yet another one of these when I said I wouldn't buy anymore. You give me a good one for that cheap. Yet another one there I could have probably had for $5, but it was a little more rough around the edges. Also from the same gentleman I got the boring head from, I got this Mitutoyo micrometer, which appears to be brand new. This is a 117-107. It's got the paperwork in there. Yeah, this is all brand spanking new. It's one of the multi-anvil ones. You can either put a dowel pin in there, or you can use the little carbide, flat anvil. And both of the anvils are here, and they're still in the protective coating. The wrench is there. Yeah, this is all complete. So I got this and these two small part hold downs for 45 bucks. So I think that's a pretty good deal. These, I forget if there was a name on these or not. You know, these appear to be completely unmarked. And then from another dealer I found this unusual clamp. It's from KD Tools. They make a lot of automotive tools. Guy tried to tell me he thought this was for batteries. But I said, I kind of doubt that, because it doesn't really make sense. First of all, you'd be kind of grabbing the battery at the very edge there. You'd really have to torque down on this to make sure it didn't slip out. And there'd still be a chance of the battery falling out on you. And even if you do clamp on it, there's no handle on the top here to grab it and carry it. So it doesn't really make sense. So I'm not sure what this tool is for. It's a KD number 140. Well, let's find out. It's funny, the first thing that comes up is the Garage Journal has a thread. Somebody asked, KD Tools 140, what is it used for? And somebody answers, says, it looks like a battery clamp pickup tool to me. But then it says that searches show possibility as a welding or an auto body clamp. So it looks like it is in fact still a mystery tool. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense, right, guys? Why would you clamp on a battery like that and then not really have a way to pick it up easily? Doesn't make sense. So, but good quality clamp for 5 bucks. I ended up picking up this neat little hammer for 2 bucks. I don't know if that's a project somebody made or if that was commercially made or what. This had a price of 5 bucks on it, and no sense in bickering over that. For 5 bucks, it's worth it all day long. I've shown these before on my channel. Got one of these that I'm keeping for myself. This one I'm going to resell. This is from a company called Spec Tool. They make offset screwdrivers and specialty tools like that. And what this is a tight quarters, kind of like a ratchet. So the idea is when you squeeze this handle, it will rotate this, and then you have different inserts you can put in here, so you can put this around different sized nuts or bolts that are in a tough spot to get to. And from the same gentleman I got that from, I got one of these Mitutoyo boxes for 5 bucks. It's just an empty box. It's for a Mitutoyo caliper and a Mitutoyo micrometer. Probably digital by the looks of the shape of it here. But my plan is I'll probably just put in a Mitutoyo caliper that I don't have a case for in here, and then throw a Mitutoyo 0 to 1 inch mic in there and sell that as a set in a nice wooden box. And the funny thing is, at the last tractor show, from the same guy, I bought one of these for the same price. Put together this little pile right here for 10 bucks. It's the remnants of some Starrett 196 indicator set. We got the indicator. It's a little slow to return, just a little gummed up, but that's easy enough to clean up. It's missing the little button on the back there, but I've probably got some extra ones of those around. The hole tool. This is the to reach into a bore, and a snug. And then also there was the rod that threads into the bar to go on a tool post. I just temporarily mislaid that, but I know I did get that with this lot. And again, it was 10 bucks for that. This guy had this nice, got some surface spot rust on it, but it's a nice parallel. Unfortunately, he only had the one, so I only gave 3 bucks for it. If he had a pair, they'd be worth more, but he just had this one lowly big parallel. And then the lady that I ended up buying those Starrett tap wrenches from earlier in the day, I went back and she had all stuff in plastic bags, and she was selling like everything in the bag for one price. But the problem was she had stuff in one bag that went with other stuff, and it was all kind of a mishmash. So I finally convinced her to let me pull some stuff out of some of the bags and put them together. For instance, I noticed she had this, which she didn't even know what this was, but this is actually the holder for the little miniature scales, which I found these two are probably from this set, and there's probably a 1/2 inch one missing. So this is a 1 inch and a 2 inch. I then also found this little Starrett 3-inch scale, but that's not from the same set. You can see it's wider, although you could use it with this. And a fishtail, aka center gauge, Starrett. One Starrett pin vise, a Starrett number 473 thread pitch gauge, and this little neat punch set for 20 bucks. And this little punch set I think is Lufkin. I also don't remember. My mistake. These are Brown & Sharp 765s in a neat little cloth pouch. I got this like choke pull. It's a push-pull control cable with 47 thousandths inch diameter internal wire. It's over 6 feet long, and it says replace it. So it's designed so you can cut it to length as necessary. So it's kind of a generic deal here, but it's an old Dorman, and it's made in the USA. So it's good quality. This is not a plastic knob, it's metal. And I was thinking of using this as a fuel shutdown lever on either, with a Ford 5000 tractor or on the old Oliver. Got it for $3. Then I found a guy who had a bunch of these helicoil inserts, brand new, in these little bags. So I was looking through, and I forgot what he told me he wanted per bag. But then I said, well, what kind of deal would you give me if I took the whole lot? So I ended up getting all of these helicoil inserts and these two old helicoil insert tools for 20 bucks, and even threw in the plastic bin, which I will use. And then I spotted this bag he had there, and I thought, well, he gave me all of those for 20 bucks. I could probably get these pretty cheap, but it turns out he was like, oh, no. He says, I gotta get 20 bucks for these. So I paid the 20 for these because what they are, they're big helicoils. They're I forget what size these are. I get a part number. They're from the Helical Wiring Corporation company. They're MS124743. This is a bag of 100. I can imagine what these cost new. I paid 20 for those. And by paying 20 for those, I got him to throw in this Mitutoyo box he had sitting there. This is for a very large Mitutoyo micrometer that is not in there. But I think I have the micrometer that actually fits in here. So now I'll have a nice case for it. Actually, this wrench just fell out of there. So this is for a 7 to 8 inch Mitutoyo mic. Oh, from that same individual, I got this whole, he had a whole bunch of these 5C collets. And I went through, and I forgot how much he wanted per collet initially. But I asked him, I said, well, how much can I get him for if I take a whole bunch? And what we ended up agreeing on was that if I took at least 20 of them, he'd go $1 a piece. So I went through and I culled all of the collets he had there, and I took all of the hardinge, genuine hardinge collets that looked like they were in decent shape for $1 a piece. So there's 20 collets in here for 20 bucks, and I got another blue tote to go with it. Then I came across this neat old brass lamp that has been converted to electricity by somebody, but I think it's actually older than it looks. At least I'm hoping it is. So I think it has some antiquity value to it, maybe, I don't know. Or it could just be a complete, modern thing. But it is marked in the bottom here Warning, use only paraffin/kerosene. So the idea would have been that originally this would have been a burner in here, and somebody converted it to an electric light. Because the glass is missing, and it's kind of got like this funky bend to it, I didn't want to pay too much. I only paid $5 for it though. So another gentleman that I see there almost every show, he has all kinds of random stuff on his table. He had one of these stiffening capacitors on his table, and don't know if it works, but he only wanted $1 for it. So I bought this for $1 because if nothing else, I bought one of these a while back that was missing one of these connectors on the top here. So now if this ends up being junk, I can just steal these parts off of it and make one complete unit out of 2. So for those of you who don't know what this is, it's a capacitor, stores energy, it kind of acts like a battery, and the purpose of this is to help provide reserve power for large audio amplifiers in a car when you have a driving bass beat. The bass notes use the most energy because they push the largest speakers. So what can happen is if you have a very high power stereo system and you turn the volume up really high, it can actually cause the electrical system the voltage to drop down. And you can literally, like if you have your headlights on at night, you can actually watch the headlights pulse with the beat of the music. This will help that to some extent. What you really need is a heavier duty alternator if you're going to do that all the time, but this helps. And this one is a little bit more sophisticated because it's got a little extra circuit board in here to monitor what's going on, show you the voltage in a little digital readout, blah, blah, blah. And just to look cool if you go to shows, if you're one of those people who does that. Same guy who had that junk. Last show, I noticed he had a whole pile of these rifle stocks, and I was thinking, geez, I wish I knew what kind of a stock I'm looking for an old rifle that I have. I have an old Mauser rifle that got destroyed. There's a long story behind it, but the short of it is the thing ended up being left in a place that was very wet, and the stock pretty much is all rotting away, and the barrel and the receiver, the bolt action, are rusted solid, and it may be completely ruined, but I do want to try and see if I can resurrect it. And I figured, hey, maybe a cheap stock would be the way out. So I told him what I had, and he said these two right here might be possibilities, because this is a Ruger 308 stock right here, and this one I forgot what he said this was for, but these are both for bolt action rifles. So one of these might work for that project. And after I told him the story about it, he actually said, you know what, he said, you can have those. So he gave them to me for free. All right, coming into the home stretch, here's something I bought from the people that I got the nice Starrett tap wrenches from, and a couple other little machinist items. They had this big old tap wrench set sitting there, and I see these all the time, and I always think, geez, you know, the only thing I want out of these things is these nice big tap wrenches, you know, whether they be Greenfield or whatever. This one's a nice Greenfield. So this is a Hercules screw plate by Greenfield Tap and Die. You got the old GTD logo there, right? It's got the big old tap holder, the die holder, right? He had 20 bucks on this, and I was trying to get him to sell me the wrench alone, which he said he wasn't going to do. I had to buy the whole thing. So then finally I bought the whole thing for 15, and then I even offered to just let him try and sell the rest of this to somebody else. I, pay him the 15 and I just take this. But he's like, no, you got to take it all, because he didn't want to have to throw it out, which is what I'm going to probably end up doing, is throwing most of this out. I'm going to keep this tap wrench and maybe this little spanner wrench, which oddly enough is actually for these screw plate type dies. I do have one guy who's a big Greenfield fan, and he's local, so he might actually drive out to pick this thing up from me. I'll give him a shot. If he doesn't take it, then yeah, then a lot of this is going to get scrapped. Sorry if that upsets you. Another big giant $15 item that was marked for 20 and I got it for 15 from a different person is this big, large, deep throat dial micrometer. So it's a, I think it's a Mitutoyo, but it's got an Ames indicator on it. So yeah, it's quite the funky thing we got going here. So it actually works perfectly fine, but the crystal's missing. And so for 15 bucks, I figured, what the heck. I think I might have I might have an Ames indicator I could throw on here to substitute for that one, but now I'm looking at it and realizing this is a specialty indicator. It's got a special shaft on it there. So I guess maybe not. Okay. We'll see what happens with that. And then the last item I have here, actually I got a couple little items that I picked up at a yard sale I'm going to throw in at the end of this video. So hold tight. But the last item from the show, from the tractor show, so I ran into a guy that I had bought one of these Variacs from at the Brimfield show, and I notified him when I saw him. I said, "Hey John," I said, "you know that Variac I bought from you when I got it home didn't work." And it turns out the reason why it didn't work is because it's missing the fuse holder. So he says, "Oh," he said he didn't realize that. So I told him, I said, "If you want, give me a deal on this one." So he had $44 on this, and he took $35. And this is a model AEEC 590 VR. I've never seen one of these before, so this is an unusual one. It says contact voltage regulator, model number 590 VR. So it's a 0 to 130 volt Variac, but what's kind of neat is it's got a built-in meter. But I also pointed out to him, look, missing the fuse cap. This isn't missing the whole holder, it's just missing the cap. But that doesn't bode well necessarily for this. This could be junk. We'll find out. It's got a brand name of KRM. KRM brand. All right, let me just show you these 3 items I picked up at a local yard sale, and we're going to call this one a wrap. So, don't remember exactly what he paid for these, but I guarantee you it wasn't much because, well, I'm pretty cheap when it comes to yard sales. Here's a nice little adjustable spanner wrench. This is looks like a number 432 Armstrong spanner. When you're buying these, you just got to make sure these pins aren't all damaged. This one's in good shape. And then this is a nice Craftsman tap wrench, large one, number 4087, I think. A little bit of surface rust, but jaws in great shape, nice size. I probably got these 2 items here for like 10 bucks. And then this is something that he picked up and he had no idea what it was. It intrigued me. He thought it was kind of neat. So I think we ended up deciding that I would pay him, I think it ended up being 15 for this thing. So this is marked USG, which is US Gauge Company, made in the USA. And then this part right here is marked the A.H. Emery Company, and this is a model number 1101-3-600. And then it's also got a part number of a B-26521. This was made by this company in New Canaan, Connecticut, which New Canaan C-A-N-A-A-N. I'm in one state over from Connecticut, and I've never heard of that town. So I have no idea where it is. But what this is a 600-pound capacity pressure gauge. So I think in theory, it's got almost like a little anvil right here. I think in theory, if you apply pressure to this point right here, you can actually measure up to 600 pounds. Would that be per square inch? I wonder how that would work. That's what it looks like. It's a nifty looking thing. I actually was able to push down on this just enough to get the needle to just barely move. So I can exert apparently about a little over 25 pounds of pressure on this. All right, so don't know much more about it. So that's going to be a wrap for this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. And by all means, share the video. Until next time, take care.